Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about awareness. Now, awareness is something that expands as you go along your bodybuilding journey, and it's something that is underrated by a lot of beginners or people that are even intermediate sometimes, because sometimes as an intermediate type trainer or bodybuilder or athlete of any kind, you can get stuck in a rut and start to do things according to your previous state of awareness. But one thing I found for sure is that as your awareness grows, so does your ability to communicate with the body and to find out what is appropriate for it at that time. So this is really the difference between a professional or a pro or a veteran and somebody that's really starting off, is that when your awareness grows, you will start to be more in tune with what is working and what is not working. And of course, it will not follow a template that is standard. It won't follow the same template as a lot of the people out there that are just stuck on following templates and then saying, hey, why aren't you following the same template I am? So don't be surprised if after you've trained for a number of years or even a number of months, and all of a sudden you start to notice that some little subtleties are going on in your body that are unexpected, or maybe you're not getting the results that you thought because this person on somewhere said this type of exercise or this type of rep range is the perfect one for everybody, and you start to see that, well, that's not necessarily working. Guess what? Congratulations. Your awareness expanded into being aware of what might be right for you. And sometimes that starts with just understanding what is wrong for you. That's it. Just having enough awareness to know what is wrong for you. So really what it boils down to is awareness. Like I said, it's just a lot of times people shut down their awareness for a number of different reasons. Sometimes it's just self-doubt. Sometimes people they have an expansion of their own awareness. They start to be aware of maybe an exercise or something that's not working for them, or it's harming them for whatever reason. There could be a million different variables why. Sometimes it's something that can be fixed. Sometimes it's not something that can be fixed. So the whole point is that when you trust your own awareness and then respond to it in that moment, it doesn't follow any sort of rule based on dogma. So what I'm saying is maybe an exercise is not right for you tomorrow, but maybe next week it is right for you. Because awareness is paying attention in any given moment and finding out what is right in that moment, right? So case in point, if you have really, really tight hamstrings, possibly not a good deadlift day or a good squat day. It's probably not a good time to actually squat or deadlift. Doesn't mean the exercises are bad, but in that moment they might be harmful to you. So don't shut down your awareness because it's not universally acceptable. It's kind of like people who shove their head in the sand because they don't want to face something. So when you are aware of something and then you respond to it, and then of course you deal with the adversity, maybe from your friends or maybe from people you've trained with, or maybe you're on the internet or whatever, or maybe you're facing your own doubt because you have read so many things that contradict your own discovery. It takes a bit of courage to follow what you know to be true. And that's the advantage. Like, I got really good gains when nobody was ever watching me because I just trusted myself. I never did what other people expected me to do. I just did what felt right. Not to say it was easy. It was actually harder in a lot of parts. And a lot of you guys that have tried by constant tension reps and squats, you've actually realized that they are sometimes harder than just resting at the top and then resting on the knees at the bottom. The muscles actually work harder in those constant tension reps. So the path is not always easy. The path is actually a lot of times harder. And sometimes the exercise that you find to be true for you might be even harder than the other exercises that are recommended. The fact is, if you trust your awareness, you'll get way more gains than trusting other people that have a different invested interest in you training their way. It's almost like they're trying to face their own doubt and convince everybody else that something that they're doing is the proper thing. And it might be or might not be for them, but for whatever reason they have an invested interest in it, and then they're trying to enslave you based on that restriction they're living. Dirty truck, bad truck, bad. So don't fall for that trap. Remember, expanding the awareness on this bodybuilding journey is the biggest part of it. It's actually the biggest benefit you get from training. So don't be surprised if things change for you. Don't be surprised if something that is time tested and true for you starts to change, and then perhaps you need to change the angle, change the exercise, change the program, change something. Because this is a natural progression, because as you go along your journey, and this is one of the reasons, just one of the reasons why this may happen. I mean, as you go along your journey, there's going to be different weak links that pop up. For instance, say with legs, one day it's the hamstrings, you know, one day it's hamstrings that are your weak link, and then another day it might be your adductors or abductors, or maybe your glutes, or maybe your medialis and your quadricep is the weak link. So these weak links are moving around all the time. So as they move around, then you respond by basically changing exercises, changing the way you move. And I find just being instinctual naturally assists with balancing out these things, balancing out these parts of your body that are not necessarily working in harmony with the other body parts. This is another reason why I believe when your awareness expands, how you naturally start to be guided towards what is right for you in that moment, right? But if you get too married to a template, too married to a program, or married to one or two exercises and say, okay, these are the only exercises I'm supposed to do, or this workout program is the only one that I should do because it's the right one, this can create imbalances over the long run. It can create imbalances, it can create more problems, let's put it this way, because you become a one-trick pony. You become really focused on one dynamic. But sometimes for a greater pyramid to be built, you know, a physique, this is a metaphor, right? It's not an Illuminati thing, it's just a metaphor. But sometimes for a greater pyramid to be built, the foundation also must be greater. So each person's body will have a different foundation, a different way that it grounds, I guess you could say. I don't know what term to come up with, because as soon as you say foundation, automatically everybody says, oh yeah, you just do the big three. Well, you know, sometimes the big three is the worst possible thing for some people's progress. I believe in deadlifting, I believe in the powerlifting lifts to a point, but at the same time, the powerlifting lifts can also become a detriment to you in your training game if you're not necessarily built for them. So, like I said, that's why I Romanian deadlift, and I know a lot of people that they're hell-bent on deadlifting, even though you can see the lower back is rounding, no matter how much hamstring flexibility work they do, no matter how much strengthening they do, you could tell that their body is just basically getting beat to death just because they want to deadlift. So, ultimately, don't be afraid to discard something that doesn't work. If fear is governing you and insecurity, then you are never going to be the best that you can be, because you're letting the public opinion, or even your own opinion instead of reality, guide your way on your weightlifting journey. So this is something to really pay attention to. There are a lot of exercises that I discarded over the years, or exercises that I found not to be good for me. You know, front raises was one, upright rows. Also, I found hack squats were horrible for me. So I did all these lifts because that was what you read about. Everybody said, hey, if you want to get big quads, or you want that sweep, you got to do the hack squat and everything. And I could see some guys were getting great results with it. But for me, it just destroyed my knees, right? So again, you have to pay attention to your own individual situation. I know I say this over and over again, but it's amazing how many people still are not getting this. They'll apply what I'm saying to a couple things, but then everything else they become very dogmatic about, right? They're like, oh yeah, no, I don't believe in deadlifting from the floor, but you definitely have to bench press a certain way, you know, like in order to actually get results. So like I said, break your idealism or your fanaticism around anything and just deal with the reality. What is giving you results? That's really the thing. What is giving you results? And if you're getting results and you're not getting injured, well, then that must be the right thing for you. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching, and if you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks a lot to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. Oh yeah, share my stuff. I'm just going to sit here until you share my stuff. Pretty mountains, huh? Mountains are pretty. Take a look.
Mountain.